Good morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday, April the 9th. Crazy. We are going to be doing some live lettering this morning. I found a template from the Scripted Faith Collective that I really wanted to do. So if you're watching the replay, say hi. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you found this live and that you're watching. We have an old chalkboard. Again, I did this a couple weeks ago. But I'm not going to paint over this one. I'm going to do some chalk with it today. So, hey, Glenda, good morning. Something looks weird about your comment, and it's not you, it's me. I think it's just something on my end. So anyway, how are you doing? What do you have going on today? Hey, Roxy, good morning to you. What was I even going to say? The comment thing on the side here just sort of threw me off, but we are doing some chalk lettering because I love the look of a chalkboard. I love the dusty, kind of just old-fashioned look of chalkboard. So that's what I have planned for today. And what we're going to do is use the white graphite paper to transfer it. I tested this and it actually turned out really nice. So we're going to get going. Good morning, Sue. How are you over on YouTube? So in case you didn't know, I do have a YouTube channel. It's something I started many years ago, back when I was blogging a little bit more consistently. And I would just show short little videos of me doing flowers or banners or things like that. And I haven't really done much with it over the last, I don't know, I'd say at least 8 years. It's kind of set there, but I am streaming live over there now weekly whenever I do my Facebook lives. So if you prefer YouTube, you can always subscribe to me there and follow along with that. Good morning, Jackie. So YouTube is like one of those things that I enjoy. It's funny. People used to say, I remember being in college and my professor saying, YouTube is going to take over. Actually, they said Google is going to take over the world. And I thought they were crazy. I was like, what on earth is he talking about? And he said, one day we're even going to watch TV on our phones and on our computers. We're going to watch it, like on YouTube or whatever. And I don't know, he just, I guess, had a vision for the future, but I just thought that was the weirdest thing. But you know what? I watch YouTube more than I watch regular TV. Do you have like people that you watch on YouTube that do lives or do tutorials and different things? Like I keep a watch later, list of things. And anytime I want to watch something, I usually will go to YouTube and rather than just turning on normal TV. So I don't know. I know I'm not alone in that, but I didn't know if you found yourself doing that more and more too. So good morning, Marisa. How are you? So here's the graphite paper. I just found some graphite paper that I used for a previous project. I couldn't find my pack of new ones, but this one here is just, I taped it together for that big Amazing Grace sign that I did back last month. So I think I'm just like not even going to worry about untaping that because it's going to rip really bad. But here I've got this chalkboard, and I believe it was from the Target dollar spot a long, long time ago. It doesn't have the price on there anymore, but I used these chalkboards for local craft markets and things like that I did. I would, write promotional things on there or whatnot. And so I found a box of them. I had like 3 or 4. And, last week we did the chalkboard where we painted over it. And so we're not going to do that today. We're just going to do regular chalk, but I'm going to make sure that I've got the waxy side facing down and my template over it. So I've got to make sure that I'm straight on here, but so that's the one thing that's kind of hard when it's an oversized piece of paper, but I can feel the edges of the chalkboard so I can make sure that I'm at least close to center. And because I don't trust myself to not get talking, I'm going to tape it down. I could just hold it. I watched my friend Nicole the other night do her live, and she just held it down. She was using one of my templates, the Hello Spring one, and she was such a professional. She just held it down and did it, like traced it real quickly. And I think I get distracted and start talking, and and then I pick it up and I don't realize I picked it up. So anyway, we'll just get that there. And it feels real thick because I've got that doubled over. So we'll see if it will transfer through those multiple layers. So I've got a little bit of a thicker tip with this stylus this morning since this design is bigger. It's less detailed. That was another reason I picked it, because I have a mix of designs. If you're in the collective, you've seen there's a mix of some that are a little bit more simple, like this one, and then some that are a little bit more intricate that will take more time to trace and just have more detail to them. So because this is a more simple design and it's big, I've got my big thick tip there. And let me make sure that I can see that. Oh yeah. Oh, you probably can't tell because I could just see a peak corner of it, but the graphite paper transfers really nicely on this chalkboard material. So that is nice. And I've got to say, I don't love the slick. Words are hard for me this morning. I don't like the slick feeling of some of these newer chalkboards. If you know what I'm talking about, like your old school chalkboard in school was, it had a texture to it. And the new ones that you find at the stores are slick. And I almost like want to take some sandpaper and rough them up a little bit so that the chalk sticks to it a little bit better. Sometimes I feel like the chalk doesn't do a great job sticking to it. So we'll see what that looks like when I get to the chalk part here. But it's almost like it just sits on top and it doesn't adhere. Do you know what I'm talking about? And so that's been frustrating. And then, so I always kind of look for a chalkboard that has that old school texture to it, but it's hard to find now. So I do have a can of chalkboard paint. There's a mirror downstairs in my kitchen and family room area where I thought to myself, like, I want kind of an old school looking mirror that I'm going to turn into a chalkboard. And it's going to be like this big giant chalkboard, and it's going to look so cool in there. And it's got a gold frame. Anyway, guess what? A year later, it is still a mirror. I haven't converted it to a chalkboard yet. And it's because the family got really used to it being a mirror, and they'd come in, for church or whenever we're getting ready to go somewhere, and they would look at themselves in the mirror to make sure everything was, looked good. And I got used to it too. I'm like, I don't think I really want to turn this into a chalkboard anymore, but I have a little can of chalkboard paint that I think would be great for like a board like this that is too slick, but you still want it to be a chalkboard. That would be kind of a nice way to just improve upon it. So I'm going to get in these little stars and dots. I love doing this little combo. If you're ever doing something that you feel like needs a little bit of an embellishment, this is a great, just like little cute combo of just emphasizing whatever your design is. So just kind of sprinkled around. Doesn't that just add a nice little, I don't know, just a little something extra? Thank you, Roxy. She said, I like your earrings. There's a company that makes these. They're beaded. And I just pulled it off. They're beaded little, and it's called, actually, she's on Instagram. I met her at Market. She's a woman business owner, and she started this business giving women jobs in her home country. And I cannot tell you what her home country is right now. I cannot remember. But these women make the earrings, and her business name is Treasure Jewels. So on Instagram, it's Shop Treasure Jewels. But they have the cutest earrings and necklaces and bracelets and all of that. And so I always try to buy from her to support another woman-owned business, and found her at the Atlanta market back, a long time ago when I was doing the markets, the wholesale markets. So, okay, now I'm going to take off the template. And there it is. There's the transfer. So it transferred so nicely. Yay! It was super easy. Didn't have to press real hard. All right. I thought about doing, I have a plan for next week of something that I'm going to do for Easter. And I thought about doing it today because, we're coming up to Palm Sunday and everything, but I just wasn't in the mood to pull out the paints this morning. I was like, I don't want to get out all the things. Let's do something simple. This is a chalk pencil, cheap. I know they make nicer ones. This one's from Hobby Lobby. And then I've got my little bucket of all my chalk goodies here. So I like to use the anti-dust chalk from Crayola because the chalk has just a smoother feel. It's not like there's no dust. I feel like the name anti-dust is a little misleading. I gotta be honest, because there's plenty of dust, but it is a very smooth chalk, and it's very nice to work with compared to, say, like your playground chalk that you might get in the kids section. That's just very, I don't know. It's not as nice. Like this feels like a nice chalk. So anyway, that's what I've got in here. And I also keep in here like little, whoops, I just dropped it. Oh, little Q-tips so that you can do some smudging for some shadows and shading and all of that. And then normally I will also bring maybe a damp cloth, like washcloth or something that's just damp, not wet, to help erase things. But I didn't bring that up here. I don't plan to need it. And then I've got these little chalk holders too. I got a pack of these from IKEA forever ago. You can probably find them on Amazon or anywhere. They're just like these little cheap little holders. But the nice thing is like when your chalk gets really short, like it is now, you can put it in a holder, and it just makes it a little bit easier to get a grip on it. So that's basically what I have in here, but I don't want to forget we have to sharpen our chalk. So I went ahead and sharpened it a little bit before I got on here because it does take a while. If you're going from it being perfectly flat, it is a process, but you basically just, and this is a cheap little sharpener. Be careful not to press too hard. I have clogged it up before, and then you can't sharpen it, and you have to take it apart and get the clog out, because it's soft. So you don't want to press too much in there is my point. But let's see, here we go. So there's the more fine tip, but I just want a nice little point on that. It doesn't have to be super sharp, but there we go. Just want to be able to get in there and have a nice point so that our lettering can be more precise. So Marisa says, do you always have to use chalk or can you use the Posca pens? That is a great question. And yes, I could use a Posca pen on this, but a Posca will basically be permanent. You might be able to wash it off, but I wouldn't, like if you wanted to keep your chalkboard and it be a chalkboard that you can refresh seasonally or whatnot, then I would not use a Posca pen because there's really just no guarantee unless you're going to do like what I was talking about earlier with the chalk paint. No, not chalk paint, chalkboard paint. And recoat it every time, which you could do that because yes, a Posca pen definitely will like pop off more and maybe be a little bit easier to work with. But I just think that there's some charm in chalk. And then I also like to change things up periodically. So if you use chalk, obviously it gives you the option to modify it later on and do something different. So, all right. So when I hold it up, you can see it better. Let me see. Let me get see if I can get like a book or something to maybe prop that up. Let's see, just something to take the glare off for you. If I hold it down like that. Okay, I think that'll work. You can see it better. Good morning, Valerie. Okay, so we're ready with our chalk. We've got it in there. It's good to go. You know what? When I hold it up like that, there's a glare for me. I can't see it very good. Oh, but I can see it a little bit. All right, so we're just going to follow along with our tracing. And I'm going to add in that thickness on all the points where our pen goes down. There's the desk that I was talking about. So you could thicken that up a little bit more even if you want to. So just coming along inside the letter, outside the letter, it depends. I say this all the time. It depends when you're adding your thickness, it depends on your letter. So it's an individual thing. There's not a right or a wrong way to add that thickness in there. You have to look at it and say like, oh, does it look more balanced to add it to the left side or to the right side? So you're going to see me do both ways this morning. Go ahead and just do all of this. And I'm trying to kind of prop my hand on the edge of this board so that I don't lay it down on top of what I've just done. So I don't smear it. So in a way, almost you might have to even like hover your hand over, and that can be a little bit difficult, but if you can just prop it a little bit on the edge, that will help. And so here I'm going to come to the inside of the letter, and then again to the outside, but it's on the same side. It's the right side of the letter. There we go. Marisa says, do you need something special to not erase with your arm? Yeah. So you asked that probably right as I was starting to talk about that. And so, yeah, I would just, if you need to turn it like so that you can go, upside down if you need to, and then just make sure where you're adding in that thick downstroke. Maybe it's easier to do it from this direction instead, depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed. Okay. It's looking good. All right, now with over, yeah, so see, I'm coming up underneath it, and I'm just going to hover my hand over the board. I've got my elbow firmly planted, though, on the table, and that helps. Okay, I'm going to come here on the inside. Again, the right side of the letter. Same with the O. There we go. Any questions you have, leave them in the comments. And if I miss it and I don't see it, I will come back afterwards and answer them in the comments for you, so that hopefully I can answer everything. All right, there's a little bit of a blob right here. And I don't know, okay, it's just kind of like maybe the chalk was kind of like clumped up a little bit there. So again, I kind of like the chalky, dusty, not so perfect look. If you're wanting it to be more, I guess, opaque, where it's real bright and like clean looking, a Posca would probably be the better, or some sort of paint pen would probably be the better thing to use. You can also use the same template, on a wooden board or a canvas panel. See, I'm just kind of thickening that up, and that I kind of went on both sides of my traced line. So think about, like, what could you transfer this design on? I love this idea of Jesus over everything and that reminder, right? I felt a little discouraged this morning with some things, and I was looking for a template. Like I said, I had planned on doing something different this morning, and I'm going to save it for next week. It's an Easter project, but I was feeling a little bit discouraged, and I was looking at the templates, and I was like, what can I create? And this one stood out to me, this Jesus over everything. I'm like, you know what? Regardless of what is going on, we've got Jesus. I'm going to sharpen this. It's getting a little bit dull, so I want that point back. But, regardless of what is going on, I can find my strength and my hope in the Lord, right? And if you're feeling a little bit bummed out for whatever reason, just cry out to the Lord and ask him to lift you up. Be your friend. Be the comfort that he promises that he is. So anyway, I just thought this was a great phrase to do. And I just broke my chalk, broke my tip off that I just sharpened. Look at that. Oh, sorry. Whenever I blow the chalk, it's like, it just looks so clean. And I'm going to go around that again. Ooh, that's not a pleasant sound. And then here on the end, I'm going to add like a little, I don't know what you'd call it, like a little bulb of an ending. Just a little bit of a shape to it. Kind of helps it look a little more finished, maybe. Just a different type of text treatment that you can do with lettering. it's, I think, kind of fun to look for ways to embellish the letters to be different for different styles. So while you might have similar lettering, like say we're all using the same template, but you can add little things to yours to make it stand out, make it different, make it uniquely your own. So, okay, let's see. I'm going to turn it here to the side so I can get at that H. I try to tell my kids too, teenagers, very much in their feels, very much in their feels. Like I can't say that I'm not sometimes, but that the things in life that get you down are not always, we sometimes in the moment feel like things are bigger than they are. And if we can just pick up our Bibles, read the word, pray, give it to the Lord, and move on. Sometimes things aren't, sometimes it's just a mood thing, right? And so for me this morning, it was just a mood thing. It was like, ugh. But spending time with the Lord, creating like this, something like this, if I'm doing this by myself, I turn on some praise music or I'm praying, and it's such a great way to reset and like just give it over to the Lord and worship him. Good morning, Tanya. Give it to him. I love creating from the outflow of just praise and worship, or sometimes frustration. It's not usually when we feel like creating, it's when we're feeling frustrated, but it's always just a good way to kind of change our perspective and maybe get us out of the funk, right? All right, so I'm just going in here and I am fixing up these embellishments. My overhead light that I've got in here is really emphasizing my on camera. It's really emphasizing the fingerprints, but in person, I can't see them so much. Like, from without that glare on it, it looks just, I don't know. I think something with the glare here, you're really seeing those fingerprints, but I want to tell you that to the eye, whenever the glare is not so harsh on it, it is not so bad. So there we go. Super easy. Let me change that so you can kind of see a little bit better, but there we go. Really easy project this morning. Again, chalk just has a certain charm to it that I think you can't necessarily replicate with a paint pen, but it's very much a personal choice of what you would do. So what would you do would you do a chalkboard, or would you like to do something more on wood? I need to get more wood backgrounds, like kind of like the cutting board that I did a few weeks ago. I love doing something on wood. I think that has such a nice look to it. So I need to make a trip to Hobby Lobby to see what they've got and see what other kind of ideas we can come up with. But I hope that this encourages you, maybe gives you an idea for a project that you can do. Again, I used a template from the Scripted Faith Collective. If you want to learn lettering, that's a really great way. Or I do have a hand lettering course called Faith in Lettering that I teach all the basics and all like 3 different styles of the main styles of lettering. And it's all together in one place. So you can stop and start and rewind and take your time getting through that. We come up real close and personal with every single letter. And so that is the Faith and Lettering course. And then the Script of Faith Collective is the template library that you can trace. You can use it for lettering practice, projects like this. You can see the Life and Liberty chalkboard behind me. That is something I did last 4th of July, last July. And so it is I just love chalkboards. I think they're so fun. So anyway, yes, Roxy says use wood because we have a lot of leftovers. Okay, Roxy, I will go look for some wood things, and I would love to see what you're making as well. So, all right, if you use anything, if you do any lettering, and say you have learned something from the course or you are using a template, please tag me and let me see. I would love to see it, would love to share it. And yeah, this was a super fast live this morning. I'm not used to doing 30-minute lives. So it feels short. But anyway, that's our project. We're done. I'm going to go find a place to hang it. And I will see you next time. Y'all have a great Wednesday.